After creating our Azure for student free account with $100 credit, we can start to do our first lab, which is lab 1, which is to make use of the automobile data set to predict the prices based on the different characteristic or properties in the data set itself. I'm going to start by logging into your machine learning studio for Azure. So you can just basically Google for ML Azure, and you'll be able to select the link to log on to machine learning Azure Studio. Use your IT email to log in. So once you're logged into the Azure Machine Learning Studio, you'll find that it will actually prompt you to create a new workspace. Because by default, at the end of every lab, you should delete all the workspace that you have so that you won't get charged even if you are not working on the lab. Because if you leave it running, you will still be charged and your free credit will be depleted. Because you're not getting infinite. So even if you don't get this screen, you can click on workspace, whereby you can click on the new button to actually create your workspace. Create workspace. So according to the lab, basically today we're going to actually work on the data set which is automobile to try to make use of the different information contained within the data set to predict the price of the automobile. And as mentioned, for the first step, we will need to create a workspace. So in the lab, we actually ask you to create a new workspace called testing. I'm just going to name my workspace as test. For the subscription, always ensure that it's been selected as Azure for student because that is the free credit account that has been given. Because if you have created the account and add in your credit card or debit card information, if you select the other subscription, you will get charged and billed through the credit card that you select. So very important that you always ensure that you select the subscription which points to Azure for student. And in order to delete all the resources or all the infrastructure that has been created while we are doing analyzing the data, so that we don't get charged after the end of lab, we always create a resource group to group them up so that we can delete all of them at once. So by default, there's some resource group already, but normally you will also create a new resource group that has the same name as a workspace, so that it's easier for you to identify and delete. So click on the create new, key in test. So the first time you key in test, you'll find that the OK button is not able to be selected. No worry, just click out of it and click new again. You'll find that OK button will be there. So click on it, you will find that resource group test will be created for you. And for region, always choose Southeast Asia, which is closer to you so that you have lower latency, and click create. It will take about 3 to 5 minutes for the workspace to be created. So you can actually view the status of your workspace under default directory, or you can even click on workspace and refresh to actually check whether your workspace has been created. So you can see that the workspace has been created for me. So if you click on it, it will actually bring you the workspace for you to create your pipeline. You can see the workspace has been created. You just click on it, you will go to the same place again. So go to the designer. On the left, select designer on the left hand panel so that you can actually go to designer to actually create your new pipeline. So basically we are now at this slide here. So we're going to make use of the create a new pipeline using the classic preview component by dragging all the different components to analyze our data set. Click on it. So once you click on it, you will find that this is the space that you see. So you'll find that by default, you only see the workspace that we're working on. So it's important for you to click on this double arrow to actually give you a view of all the components that you can drag and drop onto the workspace. At the same time, if your screen is big enough, you can click on the property settings, because all the components that you drag in, you're going to actually select all the parameters. But if you're not working on it, you just want to look at your flow diagram, the pipeline that created, you can basically minimize them. Okay, so we're going to start by actually naming my pipeline properly. In this case, will be automobile price prediction. So click on the pencil icon here, which is the edit function. Okay, so after naming your pipeline as automobile price prediction, save it. You'll find that the name has been connected. Okay, so the next step basically is to actually drag all the different components onto the workspace. To start to actually create our pipeline. So the first thing is basically to drag inbuilt data set which contains automobile data that we can actually analyze on. So expand the column, go to component and just type automobile. Okay, you'll find that you will have automobile price data that has been created by default for you. So we're going to drag and drop here. Next step, you can actually preview the data that resides within this data set. By clicking on it, by clicking on the circle here, right click, you can preview the data. So you can see that inside this data set contains information such as the make, the fuel type, the aspiration, number of doors, body style, drive views, that basically are typical information that you can find on every automobile. We can actually close it. So that basically, you can actually close after you have viewed the data. So the next step is we're going to actually select what are the data we're going to actually select from the data set in order for us to analyze. So we're going to make use of the select column in data set component. So just type select data. You'll find that there's a lot of different. So we're going to select the first one, which is select column in data set. So after you have selected, use the mouse, click on it, click on the circle and drag and drop to the next component box, so that the data that is in the first component will be forwarded to the second component. So for second component, we need to actually do some settings by actually highlighting what are the information we're going to select from it. So you can see that we're going to select all columns, but I'm going to exclude the column which is the normalized losses. So go back here, make sure that this is been selected and click on this icon here, which will bring you to the should be here. Then click on this icon here, which will bring you to the settings for selection, or you can just so you double click on it. After you double click on it, you will find that these are the information. Select edit column. So with groups, so we're going to include all columns as mentioned in the parameters. And after including column, I'm going to exclude some column names which is normalized losses. So click on the plus button, exclude column name, and you can actually select normalized losses. So basically you will find that this will be what you're going to do, and you save it. And you will find that inside this box will contains the rules that you set to define the data that is going to be analyzed, which basically include all columns but exclude the column names normalized losses. As seen from this slide here. So we're going to close that sidebar again. And we're going to drag the next column, next component, which is to clean missing data. So same thing here, just clean missing data, drag and drop. Same thing, select the small circle and link it to the next component point. Okay, so for the clean missing data, okay, what are the information that we're going to actually configure? Double click on it. Okay, so basically we're going to edit column again. Okay, and select all column. Okay, so basically that will be the information. So edit column and include all column and save. Okay, so after this, we need to ensure that the cleaning mode is to remove the entire row. Remove entire row. So this will be information. So we're going to make sure that any column that contains any missing data, we're going to remove the entire row. Okay, so click close it now. Okay, so the next component is to further select to further define what are the data set that we're going to actually select to analyze in the prediction of our prices. So we're going to actually select column, we're going to drag the component selected column in data set again. Okay, so from here, you will find that we will actually only need to include all these column that is being highlighted in this line for us to do the prediction of the automobile. In this case will be the car. So before you do that, just make sure that you link up the links from the previous component to the next component. Double click on it again, edit column. So for the inclusion of the column name, we're going to actually type all these names that is being given. So we're going to type in name, we're going to type in body style. So ensure that you type in correctly because these are the column name in the data set. If you type in wrongly, it won't be able to retrieve the information from the data set. So make sure that you key in correctly. If not, as I mentioned, the information that you try to retrieve from data set won't be valid. So make body style, wheelbase, energy, engine dash size, horsepower, peak RPM, highway MPG. So as I mentioned, be very careful when so you'll find this. So you'll find that this is actually data set how the wheelbase, etc. So after doing this, so basically the next step is to split the data into one set for training and one set one set to test how the model to see how closely it is able to predict the prices. So we're going to make use of the split data component. So type split data. You find this. So link the first component to the next component. Double click on it. And basically we're going to split it in terms of 75%. So 75% of the data set is going to use to actually do the training, and 25% is going to be used for testing. As mentioned here, so there's only one thing to choose. So we're going to make use of the linear regression model to help us to do the training. So different model will actually help to do different types of training. But in this case, because we are trying to do prediction of automobile prices, which is based on number, so linear regression will be a good model to actually use to help us to do the training. So drag and drop on the screen itself. And we're going to actually drag and drop the train model component. Drop here. So link the linear regression model to the train model component, and link the split data component to the train model component. And for the train model component, we're going to actually use it to train the model that predict the prices. So just enter price. Then save. So basically we're going to use it to train to predict the prices of the automobile. So then we will drag the score model to actually score whether the prediction is correct or not based on the training. So link the train model to one point on the score model component, and the 25% of data which is used for testing, link it to the score model dataset, which you can see from here. So basically that will be what you're going to see for the whole pipeline, which you also need to actually evaluate the model by dragging out the evaluate model component. So if you try to minimize, this will be what you are having for the whole pipeline. Whereby the raw data set, you select all the column, and you're going to clean the missing data, and you select only certain columns to be used for prediction, and you split the data into 75%, 25%. 75% is used for training with the linear regression model, and 25% is going to be used for comparison between the training in the score model based on the pricing, and you're going to evaluate the model at the end of the pipeline. So after you have created the pipeline, if you try to click on submit, you will find that it will give you an error because you haven't created the compute resources or the computer that is used to run the pipeline to predict the pricing. So click on setting, whereby you actually need to create the compute resources or the computer for use on the cloud in order to run the pipeline. So make sure you select compute instances. And you'll find that it has no compute instances found at the moment, so you need to create. So just use everything as default and create. So as here. Then you can give it any name, so you can see that I'm actually using my default name, because later on when I delete all the resources in the resource group, all these will be deleted later. So you will need to take a while for the compute resources to be created. You can see that it's still under creation. Okay, once the compute resources or compute instance has been created, you'll find that it's in running. Instead of creating, you can actually select on it. Okay, so after selecting on it, okay, basically that will be what you need to do. You can actually close it, and okay, you'll find that the error message is no longer there. The pipeline looks good. You can press on the submit button. Okay, so basically, okay, there is no existing experiment, so I'm going to create a new one. I'm going to name it as test, the same name. Okay, I'm just going to click submit. Okay, so it takes about 20 to 30 minutes, or maybe sometimes lesser, okay, for the pipeline to be running, and in order for it to actually analyze the data in the data set. Okay, so take note that every submission to run the experiment, okay, will actually incur costs, okay, to the computation charges. So if you did your pipeline correctly, put the parameter properly, most probably every lab that you do will basically, okay, deplete your account by about 50 to 60 cents according to my experience in the lab. Okay, so basically you created, okay, the lab, and we need to actually wait, okay, about, okay, as I mentioned, 20 to 30 minutes or even lesser, okay, for the job to be completed. Okay, so in the midst of completing, okay, you can actually, okay, if you click on the job details here, you can actually find the pipeline that is been running. So you can see that the second component is running to actually retrieve all the different columns from the raw data set. Okay, so even if you never click on that link just now that you created, okay, basically you can basically just go to jobs here. Okay, you can see on the left hand panel there's a job. You can click on it. Okay, and basically when you click submit, a job will be created. So you click on the test. Okay, and you click on auto module price prediction. This will actually bring you to, okay, the pipeline that is running. So you'll find that if you stay put here, it will actually run from component. So you can see that the second stages component is okay, is be run properly, executed correctly. So whatever data is being selected, okay, from the data set is being brought to the cleaning mission, clean missing data component, okay, to remove all the column that contains missing data before you select the different columns that you want it to be analyzed, okay, using the linear regression model. Okay, so you can still go back to the designer to look at the pipeline that you created earlier and modify it if you think there is some mistake for you to actually rerun to resubmit, okay, the pipeline to be run again. Okay, but let's stay put at the pipeline so that we can actually monitor the status, okay, of the machine learning. Okay, so you can see that the pipeline, okay, has been completed successfully. Okay, so basically if any of the component, the parameter you have not keyed properly, or you have not configured properly, or you drag a wrong component, if any of the any components were not to be completed successfully, it means that you actually need to go back to the designer and redo that components and redo the pipeline again. But if you see all the components is successfully indicated as completed, it means that your pipeline has been done properly. Okay, so after that, we can actually look at the score model for the score data set. Okay, so if you click on score model, click on the circle here, right click, you can actually preview the data that has been retrieved after the machine learning or analysis, okay, training of the model. So you can see that the score label is, okay, the scoring of the price prediction. Okay, and let's look at the evaluation result. Okay, let's close this data set now and look at, okay, the evaluation of data set. So if you look at the evaluation of the data set, okay, you will get information such as mean absolute error, root mean square error. But I think the two most important information is the mean absolute error, which is the price differences, okay, between the predicted price or the training price, okay, as compared to the actual price in the data set. And the coefficient of determination will actually determine how close your training is, how how close is your prediction is according to the actual data price. So the closer it is to, the smaller the value it is better, but the closer the value is to 1, the better the model or the prediction, okay, will be. And basically this is how you actually, okay, analyze, okay, the data set. So after analyzing or looking at, okay, the training of the data set, okay, the last step to do before you end your lab is a very critical step, because you actually need to delete the resource group so that you won't get to be charged, okay, even after you have closed your browser. Okay, so on the machine learning studio, okay, on the top right hand side, okay, whereby you see, okay, the workspace that you have, click on this button to bring it down. Okay, you will find that, okay, there will be a link for you to bring you to the Azure portal, okay, that will be pointing to resource group that you are working in. Click on it, so they open a new web browser to bring you to the Azure portal. So you can see that these are all the resources that has been created, okay, when you actually create the workspace for you to create a pipeline to analyze the data. So delete the resource group and just type in the name of the resource group that you have created earlier. Click delete. Okay, delete. So you can see that, okay, the resource group is in the process of being deleted. It will take a while, about 5 minutes, for the resource group to be deleted. So if you click on home, this is what you will see. Okay, if you click in, you will see that the status is still under deleting. As mentioned, we need to wait a while. Okay, but if you go back to the machine learning studio, you'll find that, okay, it will actually give an error say that the workspace is no longer being found. Okay, so this is how you actually, okay, delete your workspace. Okay, so you can see currently there is no more any workspace. So if you want to check how much you have used, okay, you will actually need to wait, okay, for the days to end, because they will only do the charging at the end of the day. But okay, you can actually just make use of this, okay, Azure for education.microsoft.com link and log in, sign in. And ensure that this is the email address that you use for account. Okay, and you can see that this is where you can actually see your available credit. So as mentioned, every lab takes about 50 to 60 cents. So you need to actually control the the number of times that you practice for the lab, so that you have enough credit for you to do your practical test as well